everybody, it's Catherine from Jayne, Catherine on Books, and what I've got for you here is 5 of some of my favourite mystery series. And it's difficult sometimes to choose your favourites, but I've managed to narrow it down to my top 5. The other video that I did before this is the 5 cosy mysteries, well, the Great British Mysteries, and they're the other 5 that I really like. So I've tried to split them into genres for you. So great if you're managing to carry on with March Mystery Madness, with all this madness that's you know being descended upon the whole world, and you know, I think we're all finding it pretty tough. Yeah, I think most of us will agree that you can find solace in books, and I'm hoping this next week I'm going to have a chance to read some. So although David and I are in solitary confinement and we haven't done anything wrong apart from getting older, not 70 though, no, we're definitely not 70, the 70 age group that they recommend, but we've both got health issues that mean that we're in the high risk group, so we're being recommended to, you know, to stay at home. And yeah, so 20 laps round the garden a day, and that'll be our exercise. Anyway, so this week it's been busy, as I said in the last video. It's been busy trying to get everything in place, getting the pharmacy and making sure we have got some food, which is a bone of contention, as you will have seen. And hopefully this week I'll be able to crack on and get some more lovely mysteries finished. And without further ado, let's get on to these are more hard boiled, I would say, than the last 5 I introduced. First, this one is book 1. It's A Rising Man by Abir Mukherjee, and this is in the time of the Raj. It's Captain Sam Wyndham who is our main protagonist in this series. And for those that you know, if you remember my original review, and I'll sort of go through it again here for all my lovely new subscribers, I wasn't that keen on this to start with. I couldn't get into the character of Sam Wyndham, and for me to enjoy a series, I have to have some infinity. No, that's infinity and beyond. Affinity, even affinity with the main character, and I didn't feel that. He's got a great sidekick. I've forgotten what he's called now. What's his sidekick called, David? Banerjee.
Yeah.
Forget me not.
Surrender not.
Oh, it's surrender not. Hey, it's a lot easier to ask David what I'm supposed to say because he's only across there now. Now we've changed the lounge round. Crikey, forget me not. See, I'm losing the plute. It's lack of food. Surrender not. Banerjee. Captain Sam Wyndham and Surrender Not Banerjee. Now this Surrender Not Banerjee is a bit of a character, and yeah, he's really lovely. And I'm getting to like Sam Wyndham. I DNF'd this initially, and David read it and he said, you know, give it another shot. I think there's a lot of promise and moving forward with the series. We're now on to 4. Yeah, this year. Was it this year or was it last year? This year. We haven't had it very long, have we? No. January, I think. Death in the East is the latest one in the series. It's getting really good. It's getting really interesting. So this is set in India, and Captain Wyndham has been asked to go over to be the local inspector. Where is the place we go to first? Calcutta. Yeah, Calcutta. And to restore law and order over there. But the problem is he's quite a flawed character, is our detective Wyndham. And yeah, he takes some getting used to, shall we say. But as you go along with the series, you realise that you get to know more of his backstory. And I think with this you definitely need to read them in order, because the backstory is an important part of why he behaves and why he is like he is, I think. And as time goes on, we start to see a bit more of his true self coming out, as he overcomes things that have happened to him in the past. So I am really excited to see where this series goes next. Yeah, give it a try. Give it a try. It's really well written. It's good plot, good mystery series. More what I call a hard-boiled mystery. Next, this is book 2. Book 1 I've got on my Kindle actually, because it was from NetGalley. And book 2 in this series by Olivia Kiernan, The Killer in Me. And this is very, can be quite gory actually. This is featuring Cranky, God, I tell you. Would it be easy if I didn't bother doing these? He had a bit of a rest from me. The Crankies, I don't know if the Crankies, aye Jimmy. Right, Detective Superintendent Frankie Sheehan. And I read the first book on NetGalley and really liked it. That's called Too Close to Breathe. You need to read into what that's about, because there's quite a few trigger things in there that that might upset a few people, and there's a link to the dark web and nasty things that go on in there. So, but goodness me, is it gripping. Very well written, and that was her debut. Very well written. I really loved the cast of characters. I really love Frankie. She's a really good detective, but she's also kick-ass. You know, she doesn't stand for any nonsense, and you can understand that she's needed to be like that to get to a senior role as a woman in the police force. It was you know, not always an easy ride for them. So because I really enjoyed that, and I couldn't wait for the next one to come out. So this is book 2, and actually I was part of the blog tour for that. So the publishers got in touch with me, and I was really excited. Quercus Books. And I'm hoping we're going to hear an update soon of what book 3 is going to be, because I can't wait. I think that you could read them as standalone, to be honest with you. You still get the sense of what the character is in this one with Frankie. Totally different mystery in here, but very quite gruesome, quite graphic. If you can't cope with blood and gore, then perhaps this isn't the series for you. But a serial killer's been released from prison, and Frankie's been asked to be involved in some sort of a media campaign involving this serial killer, so she has to meet him, and that's all I'm going to say, because I think any more would spoil it. So please go. It's quite a new series. We've only got 1 and 2 out. Excellent author, and I can't wait for book 3. Now, who shall we have next? We will have the Axman's Jazz, Ray Celestine. Now, some might not call this a series as such, because they are different. They are different plots. The thing I've classed it as a series because each of his books is set in a different place. And this is book 1. This is the Axman's Jazz is in book 1, and this is in New Orleans. And Michael Talbot is the detective in this one, and loved it. It's gripping. You think, where's it going? And then it goes somewhere different, and there's all these loose ends that are beautifully tied up at the end. I really appreciated, you know, appreciated the whole story. It's set in 1919. It says the Axman stalks the city. 3 individuals set out to unmask him. Now, book 2 we have, which is Jasmine's Blues, is it? Jasmine's Blues. Excuse me, I'm going to turn round and have a look at it. I forgot what it's called. So book 2, oh sorry Nelson, sorry darling, throwing books at the poor dog down here. Dead Man's Blues. This is book 2. Love the covers, really nice covers. This is set in Chicago. So we still have Michael Talbot, and it's the Pinkerton Detective Agency who he works for, with a lady detective called Ida Davis. And oh, Pinkerton, I mean, our surname's Pinkett. We get Pinks, Pinkerton, Peckerton, Pinkett, all sorts of funny sayings of our surname. And it just, I know it's a bit stupid really, but I've just got an affinity with it because they're called the Pinkerton Detectives. You see, that's me and David and the dog, Nelson. Anyway, sorry, joking aside. Chicago 1928, and I haven't read this. It's just as gruesome, is it, David, as book 1? So again, this is another one. This is why I'm calling these more hard-boiled, because, you know, if you don't like that sort of thing in your mysteries, then not a series for you. I've not read this yet. It's on my list of to-do. And yeah, while I'm incarcerated in Shea Pinkett, I'll be able to get this read, won't I? We're just waiting for book 3. Has only just been released this week in paperback. It's usually about 6 months, isn't it? It's about 6 months after the hardback. So it's only just been released in paperback, which suits us fine because our book 1 and 2 are in paperback. And it's called A Lobster's Lament. Mobster's Lament even. Did I say lobster? No, I don't mean lobster. God. I think I'll go home. Oh dear. Dead Man's Blues, Ray Celestine. The Pinkerton Detective Agency is what is involved in the hard-boiled mysteries with those. Then next we have got a case for Bruno, Chief of Police, and this is in France and in the Dordogne of France. This is another one actually that I wasn't that keen on. I couldn't get into it. And I thought, no, I'm not so sure if I like this Bruno guy. And I think with me, when I think about it, you know, we're all different, aren't we, in what we like in books. And I think I need to be able to feel something for the character, as I've said before, in the first book of the series. Otherwise, I struggle with it. Now, for some people, it perhaps wouldn't matter so much. They'll think, oh, you know, it's time for these characters to develop or whatever as time goes on. But for me, the pull for series is for the character to be just right. And that's just me. You know, it's nothing that the author's done. It's excellent author. But I have to be honest, I love this series now. Another one where David said, give it another go. He really enjoyed it. And I'm really enjoying the series altogether. I've really got to know Bruno. There's a cast of characters. You envisage a little town, a small town, more of a village really, in the Dordogne, and the list of characters and what happens, the crimes and the trials and tribulations of the people there. And in France, the policing system is very, very different to what it is here in the UK. And they sort of have a head, a chief police officer for each village, each town. And then they also have the traffic police, as we know as the traffic police. And then they have which are the gendarmes. And then they have like a detectives that get involved in real real hardcore crime, shall we say. And so he's quite happy in his little town, dealing with, you know, day-to-day nuisance things that the old local Bobby used to here in the UK. And as the series progresses, it seems that all the heavy stuff, all the baddies, all the big gangsters and war criminals all descend on the Dordogne as the series goes on. So it's certainly not a cosy crime, but really good series, very well written. I can't wait to read the next one. There's another one that I think I've just ordered 2 more. We've had 2 more delivered. So I think I've got 3 to read in the series now. I've read about 5, I think, already. So if you've not heard of this, give it a go. I'm sure you will enjoy it. And then finally, how could I not have a video without discussing my 2 favourite detectives, Frey and McGray, apart from my Hamish Macbeth in MC Beaton books. Oscar de Muriel, The Strings of Murder. This is book 1 in his series featuring Frey and McGray. I love them. I love those characters. They are very, very different. Frey is very traditionally English, works in the Met in London. This is historical fiction, and something happens to a case down in London, so they think they'll sideways step him up to Scotland under the... Well, he's not in charge of him really. McGray isn't really in charge. They're probably equals in some respects, but as you get to know McGray's character, he's not somebody that's going to take kindly to not be in charge, shall we say. And there's an underlying theme that goes with this. You can read them as standalone quite easily, but I think you get more out of them if you start with book 1, which is The Strings of Murder, sorry. And I know quite a few people are reading this series now. You know, I've had people get in touch with me and say, oh, I love it now, I love Oscar's books, you know, you mentioned them and now, you know, I'm hooked on them. I don't think you'll be disappointed. This is a mystery. It's a locked door mystery. The Strings of Murder, we have got some musical element in there, and they're fantastic. I mean, my favourite in the series is The Lock of the Dead. This is up in one of the locks, Marie, up in Scottish Isles, and it's absolutely fantastic. It's gothic. It's got bats and vampires and chemistry sets blowing up and all sorts of stuff. It's amazing. And there is going to be another book out this year, which I can't wait to get my hands on. Yeah, love it. For those of you that don't know much about Oscar de Muriel, he actually originates in Mexico, lives in the UK now. Very, very talented. Very, very... I nearly called him a lad then. Well, anybody younger than me is a lad, aren't they? But very, very talented gentleman. I've met him. David and I have met him. He is a musician and he's also a chemist. And so, you know, I think that because he's got... I nearly said he's got those strings to his bow. You see, I'm funny and I don't know it. I think that with his knowledge, especially when we get to The Lock of the Dead, his knowledge of all those things coming very useful, very useful. There's also a clairvoyant in here, Katrina, who is McFrey's friend and confidant, and there is a book that features her own mystery. So yes, for those of you that haven't checked it out, go and have a look at it. You won't be disappointed. Fantastic. There we go. There we go. Let's just a quick run through. So we've got Sam Wyndham, the series there in India. The Death in the Dordogne. We've got the Bruno, Chief of Police in France by Martin Walker. We've got Ray Celestin, the Pinkerton Agency. And then this one is in New Orleans. And then the next one's in Chicago. Love it. Strings of Murder. So we've got the Graham McFray series set in Great Britain, shall we say. And then we've got Frankie Sheehan, who is a great kick-ass female detective, but plenty of gore, plenty of blood and all that gooey stuff. Right, hope you've enjoyed that. Hope there's one or two of the 5. Don't forget our theme for March Mystery Madness is 5. So if you can read 5 books, that's why I'm doing all my little filming elements, choosing 5 books off. And we've still got over a week to fit some lovely March Mystery Madness goodness into our reading. And I'll see you again next video. Bye for now.